Welcome back to Parental Alienation and Narcissism by J. Claude McDaniel. This program is to help you heal and navigate through the hardships associated with narcissistic alienation. Please like and subscribe.
Welcome to the final episode 27. My name is J. Claude McDaniel, author and victim of alienation. I share my experiences, education, and provide valuable information that I hope will help you navigate through your plight. This episode is opinion-based narrative on the subject on how alienated parents choose to cope. In Part A we'll talk about the parent who never gave up. Part B will be smile along the journey. Let us begin. There comes a moment when every long journey reaches its final mile. Not because every question has been answered. Not because every relationship has been restored. But because something inside has changed. When this story began, we followed parents whose lives had been turned upside down. Parents who questioned themselves. Parents who searched endlessly for answers. Parents who loved their children while wondering if that love would ever be recognized again. Perhaps somewhere along this journey you saw yourself. Perhaps Alex's story reminded you of your own. Perhaps Robert's quiet hope sounded familiar. Perhaps Emily's unanswered letters mirrored the ones still sitting in your own drawer. So, this final message is for you. You may have walked into courtrooms where your voice felt unheard. You may have watched others believe stories that never happened. You may have celebrated birthdays alone. Missed graduations. Missed weddings. Missed ordinary afternoons that should have belonged to your family. Those losses are real. No one has the right to minimize them. But neither do those losses define you. You are more than the accusations made against you. More than the court documents. More than the misunderstandings. More than the silence. You are a parent. Perhaps not a perfect parent. None of us are. But a parent who continued loving when loving became difficult. A parent who kept hoping when hope felt impossible. A parent who chose integrity instead of revenge. You refused to let bitterness become your identity. You chose truth instead of manipulation. Patience instead of retaliation. Character instead of chaos. That choice matters. More than you may ever know. If one day your children come searching for answers, may they discover someone who remained kind. Someone who continued growing. Someone whose love survived the hardest of seasons. And if that day never comes, may you still know that your life carried purpose. Your love mattered. Your example mattered. Your quiet perseverance mattered. Because success is not measured only by reconciliation. Sometimes success is refusing to allow injustice to change the person you were always meant to become. As this story closes, remember one final truth. No one can rewrite the love you honestly gave. No one can erase your integrity. No one can take away the parent you chose to be. The conflict may have shaped part of your journey, but it does not write your ending. That ending still belongs to you. Thank you for allowing me to walk this road beside you. Wherever your journey leads next. Walk forward with hope. Walk forward with courage. Walk forward knowing this. You never gave up. And that will always matter. A smile along the journey. Throughout this series, we've explored some of life's most difficult experiences. Manipulation, loss, family separation, heartbreak. Those subjects deserve to be treated seriously. But life, even during its hardest seasons, still finds ways to surprise us with moments of humor, perspective, and hope. Before we say goodbye, I'd like to leave you with a few stories that remind us of something important. Not every chapter has to end in sadness. Sometimes the greatest act of resilience is allowing yourself to smile again. One story tells of a newly divorced father who moved into a quiet neighborhood. His neighbor leaned over the fence and asked, "So, how's life after divorce?" The father smiled and replied, "I've discovered something amazing." "What's that?" "I only have to argue with one person now." They both laughed. Sometimes healing begins with laughter. Another story reminds us that appearances can be deceiving. One father watched as expensive vacations, flashy gifts, and endless social media photographs seemed to win everyone's admiration. For a while, he wondered whether quiet love could ever compete. Years later, his grown child visited him and quietly said, "I finally understand something." "What?" "You never tried to buy my love." Those simple words were worth more than every expensive gift ever purchased. Real love doesn't compete with appearances. It survives them. Then there was the grandfather who planted a small oak tree in his backyard. Someone asked, "Why plant a tree you'll never live long enough to see fully grown?" He smiled. "Because someone once planted one for me. That may be the greatest lesson of all. Much of parenting is planting seeds you'll never immediately see. Kindness, integrity, patience, faithfulness, hope. Children sometimes recognize those gifts quickly. Sometimes it takes decades. But truth has an extraordinary way of outlasting illusion. As this series comes to an end, don't measure your life only by today's circumstances. Measure it by the person you've become, by the lives you've touched, by the love you've continued to give. Because in the end, love is not measured by applause. It is measured by consistency, by showing up, by remaining true to yourself. If these stories have helped even one person feel less alone, then every chapter has been worthwhile. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May your future hold more peace than pain, more laughter than tears, and more hope than you ever imagined possible. Until next time, take care of yourself. And never stop believing that truth, love, and character have a remarkable way of finding their way home. This is my very special closing message to you. If you've watched or listened to this entire series, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. This has never been about revenge. It has never been about attacking another person. It has always been about giving a voice to those who often suffer in silence. Everything you've heard throughout this series comes from years of personal experience, careful observation, research, and conversations with countless other targeted parents whose stories deserve to be heard. If you're an alienated parent, I hope these episodes helped you realize you are not alone. If you're an adult child beginning to question your own past, I hope this series encourages you to seek truth with an open heart and an open mind. If you're a grandparent, counselor, attorney, teacher, clergy member, or judge, I hope these stories have provided a deeper understanding of the hidden emotional injuries that parental alienation can leave behind. Throughout these episodes, you've heard me repeat one message over and over. Never stop loving your children. Love may be delayed. Love may be misunderstood. Love may even be hidden for a season. But genuine love is never wasted. My hope is that someday our family courts, our schools, our communities, and our society will better recognize the devastating effects of parental alienation and psychological manipulation. Perhaps these conversations can become part of that change. If even one family is helped, if one child begins asking questions, if one targeted parent finds the strength to keep going, then every hour spent creating this series has been worthwhile. As for me, I'll continue living my life the same way I've tried to encourage throughout these episodes. With hope instead of bitterness. With truth instead of resentment. With faith instead of fear. And with my heart always open should one of my children someday decide to walk back through that door. Until then, I will continue living, not merely surviving. Thank you for allowing me to share this journey with you. If these stories have touched your life, I invite you to subscribe, share this series with someone who may need it, and leave a comment below. Your story may become the encouragement that someone else has been praying to hear. Until we meet again, may God bless you, keep you strong, and remind you every single day that your love, your integrity, and your perseverance still matter. Thank you for allowing me access to your mind and heart. J. Claude McDaniel, author, coach, victim.